Plus Sports, Plus TV Africa on a Tuesday morning. Welcome on the show. My name is Wale Scott. We've got lots of things to talk about today. Massive. Mukhail Tinubu, good morning.
Good morning.
The Tigers will put their 84-67 loss against Australia in their first game of the 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games behind them when they battled Germany in their second game on Wednesday. Now, the match is set to take place 6 p.m. Tokyo time on Tuesday, that's today, but 2 a.m. Nigerian time on Wednesday. That's tomorrow for us, midnight stroke tomorrow, you know. And the Tigers are rated going into the Olympics after defeating the US and Argentina in pre-Olympics exhibition games. They were ranked 4th in the power rankings for countries taking part in the Olympics before the tournament began. Now, they beat Argentina. They beat the dream team, US. And it got mouths wagging, like these guys can make it happen. And this is the next best thing. They beat the US. But like I said on the show, and I've said to my friends too, an exhibition match is a different ball game. This is what they call push has come to shove. Jungle don't mature, you know. And I don't see the Tigers beating US in this tournament if it happens again. But against Germany, they must win this game.
Yes, they definitely must. And I shirk at the tag dream team for this current USA squad of players. Because I don't.
They lost to France, though.
Yeah, and I don't think they have the kind of star power that the previous two dream teams have had. That said, they're still a pretty strong team, and the Tigers would do very well to get past Germany with a win and potentially match up with the US at some point in the tournament. But if they fail. I think that's the end of. They're going home, because if they can't make it work, if they lose their first two, that's bad momentum. You're going backwards.
But honestly, what will this do to Nigerians? I will tell you what I mean. Going into the Olympics, the only opium we have is the basketball team. That's the only opium we have. That's the only high we have.
Yeah.
Nobody can actually beat their chest for any of the other athletes.
Yes.
But everybody was saying the basketball team will do well, you know, and they've shattered it at this point. Let me give you an example. Table tennis. All our reps are out. In 5 days of the games, we had 5 or 6 athletes crashing out in different sports. In table tennis, nobody there.
I don't even understand anyone who would have thought that table tennis we would
do well there.
I mean, we saw that yesterday. The mixed doubles table tennis had Chinese Taipei in third, the Republic of China in second, and Japan in first. So the podium was just filled with all Asians, and
but
that's just their
what I'm talking about
sports.
now is the Tigers, for example, losing against Germany midnight today. Would shatter a whole lot of. In fact, everybody will stop watching the Olympics. Nigerians, that is.
I won't stop watching.
This is the only high we have, the Tigers.
I won't stop watching the Olympics, but I understand what you mean, because basketball is one area that because even football, we can't beat our chest as potentials. Even though the likes of Brazil won't be fielding Neymar, Argentina won't be fielding Messi, gone are those days where the real powerhouses of were there, but still we would struggle, and no one expects us to do well. The Tigers are our last vestiges of hope, and if they fail against Germany, like I said, they're going home.
So sad. Now, no disrespect. I'm not disrespecting anyone with what I'm about to say, my next report. It's no disrespect to anyone. But because I am a journalist, I am supposed to know somewhat a lot of things. So I have heard the country Bermuda before, you know. But I can assure you, out of every 10 people, not only Nigeria, across the world, out of every 10 people you will still see like 6 that will tell you Bermuda what?
Yes. I can't tell you the geographical location of Bermuda on the map, but
I'm sure you can't.
But I've obviously heard of Bermuda. But our situation is much better than most Americans.
The only time you hear of Bermuda is when there's a triangle after it. Bermuda Triangle.
Yes.
We don't hear about
the
a
island.
place called Bermuda. But Flora Duffy achieved instant national hero status when she won Bermuda's first Olympic gold medal on Tuesday after delivering a dominant run leg for an emphatic victory in the women's triathlon on a stormy Tokyo course. Duffy's 33 was part of a group of 7 who broke clear at the start of the 40-kilometer bike, but then stamped authority on the race with a fantastic performance over the 10-kilometer run to finish in 1 hour, 55.36 minutes.
To be Olympic champion has sort of been my dream since I was a pretty little girl when I first did my first triathlon. And yeah, going through my head, I guess one was a bit of relief. It's definitely, I think coming into an Olympics as one of the favorites, a lot of pressure and expectation. And I guess I also knew that I was Bermuda's first medal hope in many, many years. And just something I really wanted to obviously achieve for myself, but also for my country. So yeah, I was definitely very overwhelmed and didn't really know what to do, what to think, it was just a really, really special moment. But I just had to try and keep my cool, not rush through transition, try and get everything right. And then, I definitely went out quite hard on the first lap of the run, but I think it paid off because I got back in the race, and it made me a bit more aggressive then to be back in the race and not just fighting from the back.
My dad had passed away in April, so that was really hard time, and I had 2 very rough races. So to have the confidence that I'd be ready for today and then to be able to execute that and actually be ready and be on the podium, I'm just so proud and so happy for that I was even given the opportunity to be here.
Great Britain came second, and
The US.
I can imagine what the small country of Bermuda, considering the funds, to actually say, this is a medal hopeful, we'll take a risk on you, go there, let's see what you can do. And she comes back home with the gold.
I want to give Flora a round of applause. It can't be easy having that much pressure and expectations bearing on your shoulders, even as a country with the limited resources as Bermuda has, to know that so many people are putting all of their hopes and resources are being spent on you.
Limited resources, they don't have.
Yes, and you're going up against more established
Great
powerhouses,
Britain, USA,
the US.
you know?
So I want to say a big round of applause, big congratulations to her, give her a big round of applause, because she has done something that makes her first, and there's nothing like being first.
Wow. She's been in the news in the last few months for all the wrong reasons. Japan's great hope for tennis gold, Naomi Osaka, was on Tuesday beaten in the 3rd round of the Tokyo Rhythm as Vondrousova never looked back.
An exhausted
That was Osaka, really.
Osaka. The thing about sports is energy is such a big deal. And when you lack the energy physically, your mental state is what carries you through. And it looked like she was physically exhausted, and we can assume that over the course of this year, she has been mentally exhausted as well. She's been dealing with personal mental issues, as well as the kind of pressure that governing bodies around tennis have been putting on her. And, coming to Tokyo, expectations being piled on, I'm not sure she was in the right headspace to be competing for the Olympics.
Now, first of all, it was the COVID-19 pandemic. Shocked the world. So the Olympic Games was postponed. And then they did Agidi, strong head. And then they said the games must go on. And then so it came on. And then when they got there, first of all, it was heat stroke. Then the bubble burst. And then people started developing COVID-19 cases and all that. And then the typhoon was coming. And it's on its way, And then the heat is still there. And then more cases being reported. Obviously, the bubble has burst, And now cases are being reported like every day now. Why did they have to take this risk? And now the question will be, is it worth it?
So for as many people that are questioning the viability of these entire games, and the people who are criticizing and saying it should never have gone on, human beings are incredibly fickle. If the Japanese government and IOC had decided, you know what, let's just skip this entire Olympics, even though resources have been spent, buildings have been erected for the Olympic Village, refurbishments have been carried out on
we can call this being insensitive, money over lives.
Yeah, but those same lives would have still been around protesting that the games must go on, because the show must go on, and people's livelihoods were dependent on the buildings and the infrastructures being put in place for the Olympic Games. So it was a lose-lose situation. They just had to take the very best, make the best of a bad situation.
Wow.
And of course, no one has any real power to resist Mother Nature. With a typhoon coming, a pandemic spreading, we all still have to live our lives and do the best we can. And I think they're just trying to do that.
Wow. Tokyo Olympics organizers reported 7 new games-related COVID-19 cases, including 2 athletes on Tuesday. Now, local news reported 2 Olympic tennis players from the Netherlands and 12 games security staff have tested positive for the coronavirus. That's despite setting up a bubble system at the Tokyo Games Village, where around 11,000 people are staying, which includes testing at the facility's border. Total count in the village since July is 155 cases.
Tokyo Olympics organizers reported 7 new games-related COVID-19 cases, including 2 athletes on Tuesday. Local news reported an Olympic tennis player from the Netherlands and 12 game security staff have tested positive for the coronavirus. That's despite setting up a bubble system at the Tokyo Games Village, where around 11,000 people are staying. It includes testing at the facility's border. The total count in the village since July 1st is 155 cases. Tropical storm Nepartak, hovering around Japan's east coast, is another headache for organizers. Wind and rain near Tokyo Bay delayed the start of the women's triathlon early in the morning, and also disrupted surfing, rowing, and archery medal events. Tokyo is forecast to receive nearly 1.5 inches of rain over the next 24 hours, according to the Japan Meteorological Agency. Although facing delays, athletes could welcome a slight break from the extreme heat that had earlier caused an Olympic archer to collapse.
Well, Manchester United have agreed a deal to sign France centre-back Raphael Varane from Real Madrid for an initial £34 million. The fee could rise to £41 million, including add-ons for World Cup winner Varane, who has 1 year remaining on his contract at Real. The 28-year-old has featured over 350 times for the Spanish club, winning 3 La Liga titles and 4 Champions League trophies since joining them in 2011 from French side Lens. Now, he lifted the World Cup with France in 2018 and played in all 4 of their games at this year's European Championship, where they were eliminated by Switzerland in the last 16. Last week, England winger Jadon Sancho joined United from Borussia Dortmund in a deal worth €85 million. United begin their Premier League campaign on August 14th against Leeds at Old Trafford. Varane set to join. Jadon Sancho already joined, and ManU are not playing. We hear they're talking to Wilfred Ndidi, Nigerian Wilfred Ndidi, for £40 million plus Daniel James.
I think they definitely...
ManU are the earliest birds at the market at this point.
They're making a statement this season. They have the money and they have the ambition. And with Champions League football secured, I think they have every intention of going for the Premier League title. And now they're assembling a squad capable of doing that. Varane is a quality defender to have. And when you have, when you partner him with Maguire, you have a strong leadership directing his movements in defense, and I think that would be a formidable defense partnership for any team to come up against. And with the story about Ndidi, I think that's going to be very fascinating to watch for next season.
More Nigerians become ManU fans, naturally. New Everton signing Demarai Gray began life under Rafael Benitez with a goal, having scored on his debut for the Premier League side in the Florida Cup. The Toffees took on Colombian side Millnarios and initially trailed after conceding from a corner. Fellow debutants Andros Townsend and Asmir Begovic also impressed on their first outing, with the former hitting the ball in an attempt to draw Everton level. Having then been awarded a penalty in the second half, Gray started home from his new side. The game will then go to penalties, where Everton were eventual winners, winning 10-9 from the spot kicks, with Begovic the hero. Okay, so Everton played their first international, and I think that's fantastic, really. They've got Asmar Begovic in Everton. Townsend is now an Evertonian, and of course, Demarai Gray.
I'm looking forward to seeing what Everton have to offer next season. Ancelotti is left, and the style of football will change. We will see how well the likes of Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin do on the Benitez now. I don't know if they can push for Europe, but the least expectation would be to push for top 8.
And so what other buys do we expect from clubs in the English Premier League now? Let's just stick to them for now.
Interestingly enough, Man City are facing hurdles trying to sign both Harry Kane and Jack Grealish. They realized that with Jack Grealish's 4 years left on his contract, and Aston Villa are willing to bump his pay up to 200,000 a week to make him stay and convince him, they're facing a hurdle, and they're preparing a £100 million package to steal him from the Villas. Harry Kane, on the other hand, because of the price being called by Levy, which is more meant to deter than really to gain profits, £160 million seems a stretch for even Man City, even with all their wealth, because they've never paid that much money for anyone. Even Ruben Diaz was only about £68 million. They've never gone as high as 100, let alone £160 million. There's an expectation, even because he has another 3 years left on his.
But there's a problem. Kane wants to leave.
Kane wants to leave, but is he going to force the issue? He doesn't.
He's doing that already.
He's
avoiding them. He's not going near them. He doesn't want to go to training. He's not doing it. Yes.
Think about
he's forcing it already.
When I think about people who force an issue, I think about Carlos Tevez. The level of impudence he demonstrated, showing that he wasn't going to accept anything short of a transfer. I mean, that's for me is what you call a forcing the issue. Meanwhile, Man City are looking at Lewandowski as an alternative, which will put them in conflict with Chelsea, who are also facing problems, still trying to bring in Haaland. They've currently cleared about £60 million off their in transfers, and they're looking to sell off Tammy Abraham, who would incidentally miss Champions League football and Europa League football if he ends up at Arsenal, which he happens to be a boyhood fan of. There's every chance that that deal will be completed for £40 million. And when it does, then I think Chelsea will be in a good position to now go for Haaland. They want to clear their bills first before going for that much money.
Okay, Plus Sports and Plus TV Africa on a Tuesday morning. Thank you very much, Mukhail Tinubu.
Thank you for having me.
As we can take on the show today, on same time tomorrow, same station. My name is Wally Scott. Like I always advise you at the end of every show, if not for anything, at least for your heart, do some sports.